Partner, Jay Higgins is an undrafted rookie that's making his case known right now. 20 of the last 21 seasons, as you well know, there's been an undrafted rookie to make the 53-man roster. And could the kid out of Iowa be this year's? Obviously, Ruben Lowry comes to mind. There are others.
Keon Martin.
But in steps the inside linebacker, Jay Higgins, who's showed up and showed out the last couple of games of preseason. You go back to week 1 against the Colts, an 88.1 overall grade according to PFF, the second highest graded rookie linebacker, only to Nick Jackson in Tampa Bay, who edged him out at 90 flat. Then you go and fast forward to this past weekend in Dallas. Ravens Nation Live had it from PFF. He earned the second highest pass rushing grade among linebackers in week 2. And yeah, he keeps proving he belongs. And Sarah, the tape kind of bears that out as well. This is a player that shows some great vision, understands spacing, sideline to sideline kind of speed. And let's go to NFL Pro, because this dude was moving around. This goes back to the Colts game. And why don't we just go minimized ever so slightly? We're watching 49 on the screen. We're looking out for 49. And I know that's tough. And Sarah, if you think it's too tough.
Can you rewind it? I got it to it late. Let's start it all over here.
Yeah, let's go ahead. And you let me know if you think it's too small.
No,
we're trying to be aware of copyright related stuff on the back end. But watch 49 just kind of work his way through the field, understand spacing. How about the timing? And he's a big hitter. And I just wonder, after this highlight tape is over, in what, yes, is a crowded inside linebacker room, can he sneak his way in there? Should they want to keep, obviously, Roquan, obviously Trenton, obviously Teddy Buchanan, and when you go ahead and spend the money that they did in free agency on Jake Hummel to be your Chris Board replacement from a special teams perspective, can Jay find his way onto this roster a week from now at 4 p.m. Eastern on the 26th when 53-man roster cuts need to be made? That's the highlight reel right there.
That was a fun reel to watch.
He was rolling around. This is the first time you've watched that compilation. What are your thoughts on just Jay the player? You've watched him now 2 straight weeks. What do you think of his highlight tape?
To see it back to back like that. And he's is he up against third stringers?
I was going to say
maybe second and third, something like that. So obviously that's in context. But the first thing that pops out is his coverage skills. And that's been a problem for the Ravens at the inside linebacker position. Now they got a lot of guys who actually can do that pretty well between Buchanan and Trenton Simpson. They're all super athletic. And it's like, wait, what happens if there's like a running bruiser that's coming up, the A gap or whatever. But that's what stood out to me. The other thing that stood out to me is, reading again in coverage, reading the quarterback's eyes, stepping in front to get the interception, then blitzing the quarterback and getting that, the pass knockdown. Then on the very last play, it was thrown completely on the other side of the field, and he ran half the length of the width of the field and delivered a hit. And then the guy didn't get almost any yardage after he caught it, and Higgins was super far away. And the last thing is that when he did deliver a hit, he put some sauce on it. He put some sauce on it and wanted him to feel it. So I think that's all well and good, but what we really need is a compilation of his special teams, because that's what's really going to be the deal breaker of whether he's in or out. You talked about Ruben Lowry, there's Keon Martin, and then there's him. And you'd think one of the three will stick. That's who I think they're really competing with one another. And so it's like, what's going on in special teams? But it's hard not to be impressed, even though it's against the second and third stringers. I mean, my goodness, what it takes. Does that Colts? Do you also have command? Who did we play last week? Why am I already forgetting? I have Commanders in my mind. Dallas.
The compilation was just week 1, but we know what he did. He had an impactful game against the Cowboys as well this past weekend. And Sarah, speaking of being impressed, you're going to have Jason Smith on the show from Huddle It Up Films on Monday for our annual roster cut down predictions, everything that you do. Jason's been on like every single year that we've been in existence. He's the man. And just to kind of tease how he feels about Jay Higgins, because he did not hide his thoughts whatsoever in a recent tweet. He says, Jay's got the best pure linebacker chops out of every Raven I've seen this preseason. Pressing the line of scrimmage, scraping, taking on blocks, gap integrity, positioning, instincts. He's really advanced for a rookie. Hope he makes it. Might be our best weak side linebacker right now, he says. So as much as you want to see special teams, and I'm sure Jason's got thoughts on that as well, which you'll get into coming up on Monday. But the fact that he's speaking that highly of a player that did not hear his name called all 3 days back in April, and the Ravens probably hoped that was the case because they love their Iowans. Did they not? They love their Iowa Hawkeyes. You can list a slew of them off, okay, that had tremendous college careers, or at least solid college careers, and then went on to have tremendous NFL careers. And so they went back to that well in undrafted formatting. He's 6 foot tall, 224, undrafted, Big Ten linebacker of the year. So it's not like this guy wasn't known, Sarah. He was the 2024 Big Ten linebacker of the year. Unanimous All-American, first team his final 2 seasons at Iowa. First team All Big Ten. So this is a dude that's not unfamiliar with being in the limelight. Somehow he snuck through. After 3 days, the Ravens snatched him, and it sure seems like, Sarah, this is a gift that they shouldn't let slip through their fingertips a week from now.
Well, and that's the thing. And Bobby, just because we don't have the tape, but I mean, he did get a sack strip against Will Grier, against or no, that was a different one. Did we have the sack strip in there? No, he had it against the Cowboys. Yeah, Will Grier.
No Dallas tape in there.
No Dallas tape in there, but he did have a sack strip last week against them. So, wow, Jason's going on a limb, but he trusts himself. He trusts his film study. So something tells me he's going to have, when he comes on the show on Monday, he's going to have Higgins making the team. I mean, here's what's crazy at the inside linebacker position. So we've got Roquan Smith, Trenton Simpson, Teddy Buchanan. Then Jake Hummel was a special team signing, veteran signing from the offseason. So he's sticking around. And then you have Higgins. They're not cutting Simpson, and they're not going to cut Buchanan. I don't think they're going to cut Jake Hummel because he was the veteran offseason signing for special teams. They wanted to make special teams return it back to its greatness. So can you keep 5 inside linebackers?
I know.
It's tough.
I'm with you.
And so the question is, Bobby, because obviously, I mean, when we talked about this before, actually yesterday, we talked about how Jay Higgins had an uptick in his special teams snaps from preseason week 1 to preseason week 2. He had a big uptick. So obviously they're trying to look at it. So at the end of the day, that's going to be part of the conversation. But the other part is going to be the Ravens being like, who do we feel like we have the best chance of sneaking into the practice squad? Is it Keon Martin? Is it Ruben Lowry? Or is it Jay Higgins? They know, they watch the tape. They know who's popping off. And so that's going to have to be part of the discussion of who can we sneak through? Because we're going to have to attempt it with 1 or 2 of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And to your point there on special teams, the hints that are within the, kind of nitty gritty of roster construction and alignment, his special teams numbers, as Cole Jackson pointed out, and we had a slide on it yesterday that you just alluded to, doubled from week 1 to week 2, Jay Higgins special teams. So is that an indication? We'll have to see. John Harbaugh shared yesterday at his press conference that it's going to be young guys and really young guys only in this preseason finale against the Commanders. So I don't know how much we're going to see. I mean, Jay's a young guy, so we'll probably see a lot of him, actually, now that I think about it. 6 total tackles over the weekend, 3 of which were solo. You mentioned the strip sack and a quarterback hit to go along with it. That was a team high in most of those categories.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's
and the
really,
crazy thing is while he's not popping off as much, but I felt like Teddy Buchanan had a pretty good game. That's the crazy thing is what are you going to do there? Right? In the first quarter of that Cowboys game, Teddy Buchanan was everywhere.
Teddy
he kind of
quieted
it out, He got a little bit quiet, but he started off with a bang. So
Teddy had the bounce back performance that I don't want to say needed, but yeah, I mean,
he wanted.
But he wanted after what was a quiet, I think is a fair way of putting it, a quiet, underwhelming first game. The green dot communication device seemed like he was over processing maybe, or overthinking, was happening a little bit too fast around him. That was the bounce back game that he wanted and maybe even needed as well. They're not going to cut him regardless, though. Like you said, it's a day 3 pick, and you'd be shocked if they cut Jay Kummel after what they spent on him. Not that it was a ton, but to be their Chris Board replacement back in March for free agency. So that right there
decisions to be made
is Mr. Jay Higgins. And Sarah, maybe just a little something ahead of next week's roster decision day and cut down day. That's always an interesting one in Baltimore because they just have this way about them where they can find these, the way we've chosen to phrase it, it's a gift. It's a gift. Now, the gift just didn't pop up. I mean, their personnel and scouting department prides itself on these types of players that fall through the cracks throughout those 3 days of the draft. But is he this year's guy? We'll have to wait and see.